Welcome, y'all. This is your girl Anifa. You already know this. Welcome to my world. Got another video with y'all. Like I said, I'm new to the channel. This is my channel. It's just now coming off the floor. So work with me, guys. But I do just want to touch bases on this video right here. Shout out to Taylor, the house publisher. He did an amazing job. Whoever sent him these videos, I just want y'all to see what we seeing, and y'all tell us what this is because now everything is coming out. Everything is coming out. Before they didn't have these videos and these pictures. They was hiding them, so now they coming out now. In this video right here, all alleged, this is Nolan being jumped. This is nobody else but Nolan being jumped, being tortured, being jumped by his allegedly friends. That these was his friends that he went out with, accordingly. But to see this video like this, being tossed in the air, basically struggling like he's struggling. He's on his stomach the same way they found him. Like they're like, oh, that's not him because of his shorts. No, it's sand all over it. But you see them, everybody recording, everybody in on it. But nobody still don't know what happened to Nolan. Nobody don't know. His friends don't. Oh, he stayed. He wanted to stay with Katie. He wanted to do this. He wanted. So basically, they painting this picture where they saying Nolan Well was basically unreliable about his own life. No, he went out with friends, like, and for him not to return home, that's not what's up. The same way they parents be feeling some type of way. Now, let it would have been a bunch of black niggers with one white boy, and he didn't return. Ugh, the protest would have been on. Matter of fact, it wouldn't have been no protesting. All four of them, or how many of us, seven of them, they would have been in jail. And we all know this. We all know the tables would have been turned a different way. But being though that the shoe was on the other foot, you see the outcome of things? My question is here. Where do it ends? But we're going to get into this video right here. But I do want to kind of touch bases with y'all. But just telling y'all, giving y'all a little update on how I feel. This is my opinion. You know, just like everybody had their opinion. But let's get into the video. Yeah, let's get right into it. Let's share it. Let's do it. We all knows.
And a lot of people are saying that picture right there may have been, one of the boys or a couple of the boys that he may have been on the boat with. And actually, people have started analyzing the people in the picture and sending photos and comparing things as well. Now, I'm going to get back to to the images that have been
just to get to the point, y'all,
who those gentlemen are. But another video was sent to me.
Get to the point with this because I don't want to hold y'all. Let's just get to it.
It's the same scene. Same exact scene. And
who is that they flipping around? That's Nolan.
A violent attack. Now you see there, it looks like the individual is trying to fight back. And a lot of people saying that, okay, well, that can't be Nolan because he doesn't have on blue shorts. But you
no, that's Nolan.
Clearly in the sand.
That's him.
And even in, that particular shot, it still looks like the shorts were blue. But if he's in a thing of sand, they would still be sanding. Now you see people around, people are recording. The man talking said that looked to be his friend Javon.
No, that's not Javon.
But there's a crowd.
I'm gonna pause on this, guys.
And once again,
that's not his friend Javon, because Javon is much way lighter than Nolan. That's Nolan right there. All hands down, guys. That is Nolan. It's nothing you could tell me that's him. And like I said, more videos is coming out and more. But I just want to know why nobody's not arrested. I'm going to play the rest of it.
Same scene that we deduced those pictures from earlier. But one thing, once again, that kind of makes it skeptical because you see it says Rosemary Beach, 26. It says Rosemary Beach, and then right there it says 6-7. I don't know if that's the date or it's what, people say, 6-7, right? And so this video, once again, has been sent to me. I'm not verifying that it's true and exact.
It's all alleged.
People may claim,
but that's Norman, allegedly.
But a lot of people.
But who is that being tossed like that? Everybody got their phones out. Everybody got their cameras recorded, and it's at nighttime. That's why it's an hour and 13 minutes a gap that you don't even see or hear anything
coincides with
in this, like
individual pictures in that last video that was shared to me. This being possibly
added by Rosemary Beach 26. Oh wow!
You guys can analyze.
Oh really?
Tell me if I'm not afraid or no, I'm not above being wrong.
That part.
We all are, literally trying to.
We can't make this up, y'all. You just can't make this up. It just get dirtier and dirtier every day. Just like I got another video with y'all. I'm gonna let y'all see. Just give me a moment. Just because it's getting out of control. It's getting uglier every day. And is anybody saving us? No. And like I said, his friends are the killer. His friends are the killer. I don't care what nobody say. Allegedly. His friends are the killer. Hands down. Hands down. His friends are the killer. It's crazy.
The site says it's managed by an attorney at the Ben Crump law firm, a spokesperson for Crump responding to the lawsuit, calling this a family dispute.
Y'all tell me what this thing, live in the living color. Sorry.
Account, which was under the sole direction of Dante's parents.
Let's get to it.
Ben Crump law did not benefit from
Let's get to it, y'all.
And we did not accept any fee in this case.
Let's get to it, honey.
His grandparents to give him his money.
Yeah.
You would think his grandparents as well would be like,
why not? Yeah.
That's not the case.
Critics further contend that Trump's public presentation sometimes emphasized emotional impact and apparent inconsistencies over the technical limitations of forensic
y'all listening.
requiring later adjustments when official results emerge. Trump's method of maximum pressure through charged language at press conferences, selective emphasis on evidence, mobilization of public opinion, and high-value rewards has compelled systems to act with greater speed and transparency and has secured large financial recoveries for many families. At the same time, the same intensity places substantial burdens on individuals who have not been charged, including threats, doxing, reputational damage, and prolonged psychological strain while investigations
This is
remain
crazy,
open.
y'all.
Large reward offers associated with his cases have also been criticized for attracting false tips that complicate police work. A radical approach to prosecuting a case, reminiscent of Ben Crump, is once again clearly reflected in Nolan Well's current case. In the days immediately after Nolan Xavier Wells was recovered on Horn Island on the 6th of July 2026, attorney Benjamin Crump, Reverend Al Sharpton, and associated activists placed race at the center of the public discussion. They highlighted that an 18-year-old black teenager had died in the presence of a group of white friends and raised the possibility of racial motive, even though no specific evidence of such motive had been produced.
Prosecutor.
That's exactly
But this is the Ben Crump model.
Come and chat with me, y'all. Come to my chat. Let's get it done. Yes, this is what we do. This is what I do. Yep. Exactly what I do. Just can't.
To establish, to prove that narrative, creates chaos in a community, misrepresents the facts, and then he leaves with his money and then asks the community to pick up the pieces.
Ben Crump is a civil rights lawyer in several high-profile cases throughout the country, including the Breonna Taylor case. In the interview, Cameron criticized Crump for spreading falsehoods about the case. The Attorney General said he has a responsibility to present the case to the grand jury with facts and without bias. Cameron recommended that just one of 3 officers involved in the raid on Taylor's apartment be charged for firing into a neighboring apartment.
The Jackson County Sheriff's Office stated repeatedly that no evidence of racial animus or criminal conduct had been established in the early stages of the investigation. Sheriff John Ledbetter publicly noted the absence of information that would support suspicion of a crime at the outset.
Number one,
Of course, because he's lying too. Allegedly.
Processing this tragic event.
All alleged, guys.
All close friends.
This is
We're
crazy.
still waiting for 100% confirmation. I'll assure you that the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, we're looking at this whole case just like we would.
We heard it all before.
And we're going to be as thorough as we can.
Back to Crump's strategy, a dominant narrative circulated through media coverage and social platforms. 4 white teenagers had abandoned or deliberately harmed a black teenager on a deserted island. The documented circumstances of Horn Island on the 4th of July 2026 differed from that account. Hundreds to thousands of people were present, along with numerous boats. Nolan Wells was not the only black individual among the friend group
That
or
we
on
know.
the island that day.
We know.
According to statements from the young men who had traveled with him, he chose to remain behind with a young woman rather than board the boat when the group encountered mechanical difficulty. The vessel was taking on water. Some of those same friends,
That's his friend
including
Jovan.
individuals who are themselves people
You
of
see
color, later stated
I'm
that
sorry, you
race
see the
played
complexion
no
of his
role.
skin?
They described long-standing
That was not him
friendships,
they was tossing
overnight
up.
stays at one another's homes, and a prior 4th of July outing the previous year that had concluded without incident. The early racial framing produced a rapid polarization of public opinion. Witnesses grew reluctant to come forward. How does that early public framing compare with the investigative record
That's
that
his
was
friend up
developing
there,
at
he's
the same
lying.
time? The sheriff's office continued to treat the matter as an active investigation without designating suspects, while verifying
Yeah,
statements
officer,
and
he's
collecting
lying,
original photographs
allegedly.
and video from the northwest section of the island.
Ms. Rice, you said Benjamin Crump, attorney Crump, who was once your lawyer, you called him an ambulance chaser. What about your working relationship with him that folks may not know led you to feel like he's an ambulance chaser?
Well, I mean, that's what he is. But
Benjamin Crump is an ambulance
chaser.
chaser.
So global. I met
Especially when it
Benjamin
happened to
Crump
her
and,
son.
you know, I thought that he had everything under control. You know, in during the time that we were working together, things just wasn't feeling right. Things
Y'all hear what
wasn't
she's
adding
saying
up
about
right.
Ben
I
Crump?
didn't have a lot of my paperwork that I was looking for and that I was entitled to. So I ended up firing Benjamin Crump about 6 to 8 months into
Do y'all hear that?
into our case. It was questionable if he knew any of Ohio laws, and that threw a red flag. Also,
Yes.
some of the behavior that he displayed, I just didn't like it. So I decided to fire him and get with my third set of attorneys.
The young men who had been with Nolan Well,
Did y'all hear what she
among them
said?
Warren.
She said she fired Ben Crump because he didn't have all her paperwork lined up. I told y'all he ain't, like she said, he's an ambulance chaser. He's a scam to me. I don't believe in him. I don't care what he is. He in it for the money and whatever else he can get. Straight period or alleged. It is what it is. Let's get back to the video.
Hudson and Trace Eston Shepard found themselves positioned in media reports, social media commentary, and family-side press conferences as the primary subjects of suspicion. No charges had been filed against them, and no evidence establishing criminal responsibility had been presented. They nevertheless received numerous death threats, personal addresses, and identifying information were published online.
He looked
At
like
least one
whoever
individual
prepped
received a
him.
package containing
Was his
white
name
powder,
Warren?
accompanied by a
Whoever
threatening note
prepped him for
delivered
this
to a
interview.
residence. Federal authorities, including the
And then this
FBI,
video right here, I didn't like
became involved in
Jovan's
addressing
mom, the way
interstate
she
threats
shoved him on
directed
her
at
arm,
members
like
of the
basically
group.
telling him to shut
Several
up
of the
for
young
whatever
men
reason.
declined camera
Go back and watch the
interviews,
video.
citing fear that statements would be edited or further used against them. Trace Eston Shepard spoke to ABC News and Good Morning America, confirming that the group had cooperated fully with investigators. He also addressed a circulating video, stating that the voice heard was his own rather than Nolan's. Warren Hudson's mother, Chancery Court Judge Ashley Cole, publicly affirmed that her son had been interviewed by the sheriff's office and had cooperated completely. According to the family's account, Hudson last saw Nolan near 3 p.m. The group departed the island around 4:30 p.m. because of the boat's flooding.
Okay. Well, running in was very chaotic. I mean, Nolan chose to stay on the island, so my focus wasn't on anything else other than the boat, you know, because
so you're trying to tell me your focus wasn't on Nolan, but you were so focused on the boat that was allegedly sinking. The boat wasn't sinking. I don't care what y'all said.
Once we kind of got out there, because he got the motor to trim down, and the motor trimmed down. My buddy Wyatt pulled the plug, and we planed off. We moved all the way to the front of the boat so we could plane off, and eventually we planed off, and the boat was running. So when you're planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, you know, we're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou, and we didn't just run straight to my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou. A couple of us jumped in the water, and Wyatt, like, the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat. So then after that, we went and docked it, and I went back to my buddy's house, and we ate and napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the island, so we were all tired.
Y'all went back and y'all ate and y'all napped.
We go over to
y'all ate and y'all napped.
This infamous picture that I've seen online of Nolan in the water in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Where is this picture associated with? Because you said you guys went back to swim. Nolan wasn't with you.
Yeah.
So where's this picture
at?
Like,
right.
What's the context around the picture that's been floating?
That picture is taken on June 27th, a week before the 4th of July. We all went to a friend of ours in Pass Christian.
So why are they showing this
picture? A lot of friends from Bay St. Louis, Pass Christian. We all went over there to hang out, and
And Nolan was in that picture.
Nolan was in that picture, and if you look in the picture, my arm is around Nolan in that picture.
Despite these confirmations of cooperation from both the sheriff and a judicial officer,
that still don't
public
mean nothing.
commentary continued to treat the young men as presumptively responsible while the investigation remained open. The result was sustained social isolation, fear, and psychological strain for individuals who had only recently reached adulthood. But what happens when a large financial incentive is introduced into an unresolved investigation still in its early weeks? At Nolan Well's funeral on or about the 20th of July 2026, Reverend Al Sharpton of the National Action Network announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction. The total was quickly stated to reach $100,000 after additional commitments, including a reported pledge associated with Tyler Perry. The stated purpose was the pursuit of truth and support for the family. Large rewards offered at that stage of an investigation have a documented capacity to generate false tips, fabricated accounts, and opportunistic claims from individuals seeking payment. Investigators must then expend resources screening unreliable information. The announcement also intensified public focus on the young men who had already been named in connection with the trip.
So why nobody not arrested?
County Sheriff's Office.
That's Nolan right there, y'all. That's him laying right there dead.
From the public,
they killed him
against the circulation of unverified
They killed him. I don't care what y'all say. They killed him.
Commissioned by the family
and they know that too.
By forensic pathologist Roger Mitchell was presented
blows
at a
in the
press
back of his
conference
head. Yeah, it's blows in the back of his head from them stomping on it.
NAACP National Convention in Chicago around
and in his
July
throat.
22, 23,
That's why
2000.
they didn't want to hand his throat over. That's why they removed it, because they know what they did. They stomped him out. Wasn't no strangulation.
Further investigation. He repeatedly highlighted language indicating that the pathologist could not exclude the possibility of a non-accidental factor contributing to or resulting in the death. That formulation left the impression that homicide remained a viable and open possibility. Two specific findings received particular emphasis.
Right.
The report recorded a focal area of red discoloration measuring approximately
on the back of the
12
head.
by 8
He was hit in the back of his head.
Tissue overlying the occipital.
Where it landed to a concussion. I don't care what no one said.
Warranting further scrutiny. The same report stated that there were no lacerations of the overlying skin and no fractures of the underlying skull. Because of the bad condition after the victim had remained in salt water and elevated temperatures for multiple days, the discoloration could not be classified as a definitive perimortem injury. The The second point concerned the absence of certain anterior neck structures, the trachea, laryngeal cartilages, thyroid horns, and hyoid, when the victim arrived for the
And
second
other part of his
examination.
organs was
Trump
missing. That's what they
presented the
don't want to
missing
tell you.
structures as a
Allegedly,
noteworthy
whoever they
limitation.
sold that
Forensic
to.
observers noted that such structures are sometimes retained by the original examining authority for additional testing, and that their absence is not uncommon when a second autopsy is performed after the first. The independent examination itself documented the constraints inherent in a second autopsy. The bad status of the remains is a complicated assessment of surface bruising. Because internal organs had already been removed, examined, and returned to the victim during the first autopsy, standard procedure, the second examiner could not evaluate lung fluid, airway contents, or stomach contents in the same manner.
Slammed on his head.
Pathologists, including those cited in media coverage such as Dr. Priya Banerjee, have confirmed that second autopsies routinely confront these limitations.
I don't know.
How does the emphasis
I don't believe
placed
what
on
she
selected
said.
phrases, undetermined, cannot exclude a non-accidental factor, missing neck structures, and the red discoloration,
Like I said, I
compare
believe
with the full content of the report? The document itself recorded the absence of
and
fractures,
he got an altercation,
the absence of clear deep
and
tissue trauma,
like I said,
and the
alleged,
inconclusive character of multiple
got
findings
into
attributable
a
to
physical
long-lasting.
fight
The
where they
official
jumped
Mississippi autopsy results remained
Like I said,
pending
it's more to the
completion
story
of
than you
toxicology
think it is.
analysis and had not yet been released. The sequence and selective focus of the Chicago presentation therefore occurred
waiting
while
for a
the
lot of
primary
people to come
medical
in. Like I said,
determination
I'm new
was
to the
still
channel. This is
incomplete.
my
Taken
channel.
together, the
This is
early
your girl,
introduction of
Anifa.
racial motive, the public positioning of
I'm
uncharged
here just
young
like
men
everybody
as
else
central
is.
figures of suspicion, the large reward announced at the funeral, and the framing of limited forensic findings produced a sustained public narrative that moved ahead of the evidentiary record then available. The Jackson County investigation continued, with official statements maintaining that no criminal charges had been supported and that cooperation from the individuals who had been on the island had been forthcoming. Conversely, we also cannot deny the clear issues raised by this report.
Specifically mentioned that the hyoid bone was not included in the body when the independent examiner received it. That's a significant point for me because that means that they are checking to see if the strap muscles had hemorrhaging, meaning signs of petechial hemorrhaging is very important, but also bleeding into those muscles. The hyoid bone, examining that bone, being able to remove the soft tissue from it to check for signs of trauma, like a fracture to that bone, is crucial when you're thinking about possible or someone being choked.
On the back of Nolan's head, in this tissue area. I believe they call it the focal. You would know better than me. The focal. They call it the focal.
They called it a focal discoloration, meaning that it wasn't a diffuse discoloration, meaning it didn't cover a wide area. It was very specific to that area, so specific in fact that they could measure it to determine that it didn't spread anywhere else. So I think that's really important because that could be.
I mean, that's what they want us to believe, but
before, especially because there seemed to be the discoloration as it was described. And again, you have someone who is a non-medical professional reading an autopsy report, which I also completely disagree with because it muddies the water. So he really should have had Dr. Mitchell or an assistant, someone with medical training and knowledge to read this autopsy report, but I digress. The discoloration that they discussed, just want to make sure I'm quoting them correctly in what they stated, said it was a 12 by 8 inch red discoloration.
This your girl, and leave, comment, subscribe to my channel.
So
you
I think
don't
that's
want to, it's okay.
because this shows a blow from behind.
A bombshell was triggered hours ago when a video circulating in recent days has been presented as footage of a physical altercation
that guy right there, I
involving
believe
Nolan
he
Xavier
stomped
Wells
in his
and
neck,
members of the group that traveled with him to Horn Island. The clip has been described by some online accounts as evidence of a real confrontation.
Look at
Questions
that.
immediately
That's
arose
Nolan
about its
right there.
authenticity, including the possibility that the images were generated or altered by artificial intelligence rather than captured on the island. The visual setting is dark, a detail that aligns with certain public theories about events after nightfall. That time frame conflicts with the established sequence of the day. The friend group returned to the mainland in the afternoon after their boat began taking on water. Multiple videos recorded earlier that day show Nolan appearing ordinary and at ease among others present on the northwest section of the island. The faces visible in the leaked clip also diverge from the known appearances of the young men repeatedly identified as having been with Nolan, including Traciston Shepard, Warren Hudson, and Watt. The mismatch in features has led observers to treat the material as unreliable. The timing of the leak coincides with the existence of a substantial reward fund, initially announced at $100,000, and later reported to have risen to $125,000 for information leading to an arrest and conviction. Large financial incentives offered while an investigation remains open have previously drawn fabricated accounts intended to capture public attention and claim payment. This appears to be one of many events that have contributed to public suspicion about Nolan's circle of friends. For specific details of investigation with Nolan's friends,
then this one right
the Jackson
here,
County Sheriff's Office,
just keep
under
lying.
Sheriff John Ledbetter, made contact with the group of friends who had traveled with Nolan Xavier Wells to Horn Island within the first days after he was reported missing on the night of the 4th of July 2026. The principal members of the group, including Warren Hudson and Triseston Shepard, were formally interviewed. Both the sheriff and Hudson's mother, Chancery Court Judge Ashley Cole, publicly confirmed that the young men cooperated fully. Some members of the group were interviewed more than once. They provided accounts of the day's timeline, the reason for leaving the island, the boat's bilge pump had failed, and the vessel was taking on water, and Nolan's decision to remain behind. Members of the group initiated the first missing person report. Around 11 p.m. on July 4, they contacted Nolan's mother and the U.S. Coast Guard. After the case gained widespread attention on social media and threats began to circulate, some of the young men retained private counsel. The family's legal team, working through Benjamin Crump, stated that this development limited their ability to conduct direct independent interviews. Investigators collected GPS data for the boat from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. A recording of the emergency call made from the vessel between approximately 4 and 4:30 p.m. Photographs and video from witnesses on the island, and arranged a joint examination of Nolan's phone with the family and their attorneys. As of late July 2026, the investigation remained active. No arrest warrants had been issued. Officials reiterated that no evidence of criminal conduct had been established. The official Mississippi autopsy continued to await toxicology results. The independent autopsy had returned findings of undetermined cause and manner. The FBI provided assistance primarily
and nobody can figure out
threats
how he
directed at
died
members of the friend group.
Authorities
indicated the matter was expected to be presented to a grand jury once the investigation was complete.
Benjamin Crump,
Warren Hudson, one of the
Ben
closest friends
Crump,
in the
whatever you
group,
want to call
later
him,
spoke publicly
he's not
about the
that. He's
cooperation.
in for the
He
money.
stated that
Allegedly,
he and
ain't
the
no
others had
allegedly,
supplied
yeah, but I gotta
information
say allegedly,
voluntarily
but no.
and had no motive to conceal events. He emphasized that the group had reported Nolan missing on their own initiative. Investigators
Because they did
cross-referenced the
it.
friends' accounts against the boat's GPS track and the recorded emergency call. Portions of that call were released by national networks. In the recording, a voice reports, "Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're going. We're sinking. Can you all please come? I want to get this boat unsank and towed back." The caller confirmed that everyone then aboard was accounted for and safe. A detailed timeline emerged from the combined statements, GPS data, and public evidence. The boat departed the dock around 9:56 a.m. on July 4. Arrival at Horn Island occurred between approximately 10:30 and 11:14 a.m., depending on the source. A video believed to show Nolan on the island was recorded around 2:23 p.m. The group last saw him near 3 p.m., while he was speaking with a young woman identified in some accounts as Katie. Between 4 and 4:30
Who's Katie,
p.m.,
y'all?
the boat's bilge pump
Is this
failed,
Katie, y'all?
and water rose toward the batteries. An emergency call was
Because in
placed.
another picture,
GPS
like
data
he was
shows the vessel
at his
leaving the island
prom
at
or whatever.
4:31 p.m.
Is that Katie?
without Nolan aboard.
Who is
It
Katie?
reached the dock safely around 5:44 p.m. after a brief
Y'all see
period
that
under
gap?
tow.
You see the
The
gap?
missing person report to
Pay
the
attention
Coast
to the
Guard and
time,
family
y'all.
followed at approximately 11 p.m.
Nolan was, the last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock. And Nolan
3 o'clock.
was cradling a girl in his arms, Katie. Yeah, you know, Katie.
Stop, Warren.
And Katie, Nolan was sitting there, and the last time
Katie,
I
if you
saw
out there,
him,
please
I
speak
looked at
up
Nolan, and Nolan
because
was
your
shaking his
name has
head,
been
laughing.
thrown
I was like,
around a
"Dude,
lot.
you crazy." I was like just joking with him. And but anyway, Nolan, that was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving, obviously no one is getting left at the island that came with us unless they demanded to, you know, be there and ask, this is a very common thing at Horn Island. When you're out there, a lot of people ride out there with someone and in with somebody else all the time. I've done that 100 times. It's a very common thing, but Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and
really,
my buddy yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues. And no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat. And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here.
I don't believe
I'm
it.
going to ride it with somebody else.
I don't believe it. Why would he ride with somebody else that he don't even know?
It's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat.
So he had to ask Nolan several times, 8 or 10 times to get on the bus.
And Nolan made a decision to stay out on the island.
That's bullshit.
And like he said,
that's bullshit, and you're bullshit.
Because the Palm Beach had already left. My
buddy lying.
Went home on the Palm Beach, and
we all know that you're lying.
On the way back, and Nolan wasn't the only person to ride out there with us and in with somebody else. I mean, we had multiple people in our group that rode out with us and rode in on someone else's boat. And that,
how many people that was on the boat that rode out? Because that boat don't seem like it can fit that many people on there
that day that ran out with somebody and ran back in with somebody else. So it's not like it's an uncommon thing, but it's not like we just left him there, or my friends just left him there. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island after my friends asked him multiple times and told him to get on the. I didn't stay.
Hudson's public account supplied additional texture. On the night of July 3, he and Nolan stayed at a mutual friend's house. The next morning, Hudson woke there, obtained breakfast at McDonald's, prepared the boat by adding fuel and ice, launched a smaller vessel at Fort Bayou, and later met the larger group at a relative's residence. Approximately 20 to 30 people traveled that day across 3 boats, a 22-foot Triton belonging to Wyatt, on which Nolan rode, an 18-foot Palm Beach, and a 24-foot tide line. The island was densely occupied, with boats tied in multiple rows and thousands of people concentrated particularly at the western tip, a traditional gathering point for the holiday. Most of the group spent the afternoon in the water, drinking and socializing.
And with that
Phones
being
were commonly
said,
left on the boat
why
to protect
he
them from
did
salt
not
water.
come back
Hudson
alive?
observed
What's the
numerous
problem?
phones scattered across the
Because in the
vessel.
videos,
Not
it's
only
showing that
Nolan.
he's fighting,
When
he's
water
being
rose
jumped,
high enough to threaten the batteries, the group called for Nolan to board.
and for Warren to be
According to
comfortable
their
to go back to that
he
beach
elected
where
to stay with the young
his
woman.
best friend
She was described
was
as a
found
witness
dead
to
at
that decision.
and
So
breaking it
eventually,
down. No,
Javon
No.
sends me her number.
Who's her? That's
Miss Christine.
Miss Christine.
Yeah,
is
Nolan's mom.
Nolan's mom.
Yeah. And I walk down to the dock because there's a lot of people today. There's not a lot, but there's probably.
you keep worrying about how many
there.
people was
No,
there. Don't
so
nobody care
walk
about
down to
that.
the dock with a couple of my buddies, and I got on the phone. I called Miss Christine. Called her the first time. She didn't answer. I called her a second time, and I got on the phone with her, and she. I asked her if she had heard from Nolan. She said no. And I said, all right, well, don't freak out. I'm going to call the Coast Guard. And
Call the Coast Guard for
and
what?
this was at about 11 o'clock.
You said don't
So what's
freak
your
out.
intent in calling the
You
Coast
go
Guard?
to
Right?
calling the
right
Coast Guard. I'm
now,
sorry.
Nolan could be with a chick. He could be with somebody
So
else.
at that time, you
He
said the
could have
last
gone
time you
back with
seen
somebody.
Nolan was at 3
What made
o'clock.
you concerned enough
And
that
y'all
you felt like you
Insist
couldn't weigh it
that
out anymore? You
y'all
had to
kept
call the
telling
Coast
him,
Guard.
Well,
oh,
I mean,
Nolan,
like I
Nolan,
said, my friends and I have been on the water our whole life.
get on the
Stuff
bus.
happens.
I'm sorry, get on the boat, Nolan. Get on the boat, Nolan. And insists that he get on the bus, and he just says, no, I'm not going to get on the bus. Y'all go ahead. Everybody's story is full of shit. Everybody's story is full of shit. And they know that. And they know that. And we all know that. Let's get to it.
People die all the time. I know people that have died out there.
People
And,
die all the time.
It's a fun place to be, but it's also
this is
very,
your
very
best
dangerous
friend,
place to
though.
be if you're not handling it right. And Nolan, so I hadn't heard from him, and obviously I'm thinking I'd way rather be safe than sorry. I mean, I would rather call the Coast Guard 100 times and lose my mind over it, my buddy be okay, than not, and me not.
Yeah,
know where
buddy.
he
You
is
don't
and
say
not
my
be
best
okay.
friend. You
And
said my buddy.
So I called the Coast Guard, and I talked to them on the phone for like 20 minutes.
And what
Gave them a
happened?
description. what Nolan was wearing, the last place we were at, the last time I saw him.
Oh, that's
who
what
we
your
were with,
that's what your teacher
what boat
told
we
you to
were
say.
on, the conditions of the water.
The one that
you know,
prompted you.
the summary. And I called Miss Christine back after, and I talked to her, and I said I got in contact with Chris.
The departure was framed as an emergency effort to save the
Full of
boat
shit.
rather than a deliberate abandonment. Hudson characterized Nolan as a lifelong friend from elementary school through the first year of college, someone who spoke frequently by phone, never argued, and was consistently cheerful. The 4th of July trip to Horn Island had been an annual event for the group. Nolan had participated the previous year without incident. But what happens when the same timeline is examined against the questions that later circulated? Several points drew sustained public attention, primarily from the family, their attorneys, and online commentary, rather than from formal investigative conclusions. The interval between the boat's departure at 4:31 p.m. and the missing person report at approximately 11 p.m. spanned more than 6 hours. Critics asked why the report was not made immediately upon reaching the
why
mainland,
wasn't it?
or why a search was not
Because
resumed
they
while
hiding
daylight remained.
things.
The controversy even rose higher when some of the young men declined media appearances out of fear that
hiding
remarks would be
things because
selectively
their
edited
parents
or
don't
used
want
to generate
none of
additional
them
attacks.
to go to jail.
Officials continued
That's the
to
problem.
affirm that the group had cooperated within the formal investigation. Until now, the investigation proceeded with the comparison of GPS tracks, the emergency call recording, witness photographs and video, and the ongoing joint review of Nolan's phone. Toxicology results from the official autopsy had not been released. The independent examination had already recorded undetermined findings.
You can't make this up, y'all. You can't make it up. And I'm going to end it right here because you can't.
A bombshell just dropped on one of the biggest mysteries in the Nolan Well case, the cell phone that was wiped completely clean.
Let's go back to the first engagement you had when it comes to the family or somebody coming back to get the cell phone and keys. When did that occur, and what happened? That you guys deleted stuff out of his phone. Did you delete anything out of Nolan's
phone? Was in possession in Wyatt's truck. What my friend told me, they just had to look for Nolan's keys. It's not like, why would we be hiding Nolan's keys? There's no reason to hide anything. You know, this is our friend. We have nothing to hide.
That's not your friend.
We were trying to help do everything that we could.
So why he didn't come back alive?
That's only a tiny piece of the story we're about to unpack. Today, we'll reveal who was the very last person to touch that phone. Why does Nolan's mother still insist, without hesitation, that someone deliberately deleted every scrap of data inside it? And the most critical question of all, was that phone nothing more than a carefully planted distraction, a bait designed to pull our eyes away from a far more important clue? The answers are coming in today's analysis. In the latest update of Nolan's close friend Warren Hudson's interview, he revealed a lot of new information about Nolan's phone, including its location and the people who had been in contact with him. He stated that Nolan left his phone on Wyatt's boat during the afternoon of July 4. When the group later ran the boat in because of mechanical trouble, Nolan did not ask for the phone. His car keys were not on the boat either. The vehicle itself had been left at the house where the group had spent the previous night. Multiple other phones remained on the boat as well. Some of those phones belonged to people who had not even ridden out or back with the group.
Before I called Miss Christine, I asked, I was like, oh, well, where's his location at? Because Nolan had his Snapchat location on for me. And he said, you know, it's Wyatt said it's, you know, in my truck. Like, because everybody who left stuff on the boat, it was Wyatt's boat, so Wyatt put it in his truck.
Well, how much stuff is you leaving on the boat if you're going to the island? You don't really need much.
In possession.
Y'all don't have much on there. What, drinks, drugs, what, phone, what?
There was no issue at all with us giving the phone to her. I mean, Nolan just left it on the boat. We handed the phone to her.
So why, when she sent her friend over there to give you guys,
when was this and what happened?
So why were her friends, when she sent her friend over there to get the phone? Her friend said she waited about 15 minutes, like she thought she was on the island. That's how long she had to wait for the phone. So, like, who's lying? It's not good.
Well, my buddy Brooks drove me and dropped me off at my house, and I woke up to a text the next morning, and Miss Christina texted me, and she said, hey, Nolan's dad's there, is there at my buddy's house to pick up the keys. And, you know, I didn't think anything of it. I told her that I was praying.
He's
for
stuttering.
her.
He's lying right there.
We were out there and we were doing everything that we could to help out.
No, you was not.
Warren emphasized that leaving phones behind was common that night and not unique to Nolan. Wyatt, the owner of the boat, collected everything that had been left behind, including Nolan's phone and the unidentified ones,
Really?
and placed the items in his truck. Warren described this as routine. Everybody who left belongings on the boat had those items moved into Wyatt's truck because it was Wyatt's vessel. Around 12:30 a.m. on July 5, Warren returned to the same friend's house where the group had stayed the night before.
Everybody
His friend
stayed
received
over
a
there.
call
Everybody
from a man
ate.
whose voice was highly
They
agitated.
talked about
The
it.
caller asked about Nolan. The group tried to calm him. The man asked where
Remember,
they were,
y'all, this
was
all
told the
alleged, but it's
location,
real.
and then hung up.
Can't say.
Approximately
hate
30
to say
minutes
thing
later,
alleged.
the front door was shoved open hard and slammed. A young woman entered first, followed by roughly 8
This
or
is
9 young men
Javon's
and
mother.
Javon's mother. Javon was a
She the
close
one
friend
that
of
went
Nolan
and got
and
the
also
phone.
known to Warren.
And she
The
said
two
she had to
families
wait
were
about
described
15
as
minutes
very
for the
close.
phone.
Warren expressed
Like if they had
surprise
to
and
make the
discomfort
phone.
at the manner of entry. No knock. The door forced open. A former high school acquaintance pulled Warren outside and told him the visitors were panicking unnecessarily, suggesting Nolan was simply intoxicated and asleep on someone's couch after drinking all day.
Really?
Warren said he shared that initial assumption.
It's later, I'd like to say. All of a sudden, the door just got open and slammed, and there was a girl who walked in, and like probably about 8 or 9 guys behind her.
Nolan
and then
is right there.
Another
walking.
mom, which is Javon's mom. So I don't know why she was there, or like what was going on, but I was very surprised by this. I was like, like you just basically like kick the door open, bust up in the house with no knock or anything.
Do you know anybody else?
I've seen the mom before, and I know most of them.
like
Most of the guys went to high school with me. Like I'm friends with some of the guys. I mean,
So
I know some of them. So eventually, like
I'm
things
gonna let
started to
y'all
get heated, and I was just like a guy I was
figure it out.
friends with
Then
in high
y'all tell
school.
me.
He was like, "Man, come outside with me." And I was
Because
like, "All right."
this is
And I walked outside with him.
it's
He was
not
like,
making sense.
Javon's mother asked directly for Nolan's
So
phone. One of Warren's friends went out to the
with
truck,
that being
retrieved
said and
it,
done,
and handed it over at once. Warren stated there was no argument, no hesitation, and no
other
force
videos that I
involved.
need to make.
When asked whether the mother took any other
And
phones,
I'm gonna leave this
Warren
with
said
y'all,
that to
and
his
y'all let me know
knowledge
what
only
y'all think
Nolan's phone
of
was
it.
taken, though he was not entirely
Like,
certain.
comment,
He added that the group later
subscribe
identified
if
the
you
owners
like
of the
to.
other
All
phones that had
hands
been left
down.
on the boat.
the mom that was with him demanded Nolan's phone.
And
Nolan's phone, Nolan left the phone on the boat. And when we ran in, Nolan didn't ask for his phone. And his keys were not on the boat.
the story just keep pissing me
car
off.
was
So
parked at my buddy's
I'm
house.
gonna end
where
this
me and I
live. I'll be
slept,
back with another
the night
video,
before.
girls
And
guys.
so the keys were left at the house.
And like I said, this your girl Anif. I'll be back
Nolan's
soon
car
with
was at
another video. Thank y'all so
buddy's house where we
much.
stayed at. So of course he
It
left
is what it
his keys there.
is.
His phone,
We're gonna figure
he
it
was
out.
drinking,
And that's
he didn't
just
have
the way
phone
it
in the water
is.
because no one did. And I mean, there was more than just Nolan's phone that wasn't on the boat with us.
Informed Christine Wansley, Nolan's
So,
mother, about the
peace out,
phone
guys. I'll be
before he
back with
called the
another
coast
video.
guard. He said he told her the group was
Bye.
holding Nolan's phone. He also asked her about the phone's location because Nolan had enabled Snapchat location sharing with him.